Greetings, YouTubers, especially those known as Christians. But I'd like to say the same to all people. Greetings. I come today to speak to a world that has a lot of turmoil. This turmoil is mostly, chiefly mental. It is a mental propagation laid on fertile soil known as the children of God, the children of the world. In this, we've all lost all sense of self, sense of being, sense of righteousness, sense of sanctity, the sense of nature, and the reality of the nature of nature, which is that premise and that supplication known as God. I would like for you to consider for a moment, if not for all of time, that the place that you live in, the being that you are, the world in which you find yourself is perfect. I'd like for you to consider that everything that is, everything that has been, everything that will be is perfection. Every aspect of everything, from the theory and all of the theories, but the theory of the Big Bang and all of the theories of the physics of our universe and multiverse, our omniverse, all of these ways, these theories, these ways of attempting to describe the nature of nature, understand that all of these physics, all of these chemistries, all of these mathematics are all the nature of perfection, which is the nature of nature itself, the only nature of nature. All else is illusion and subsequent delusions. Consider with me that everything from the highest levels in the cosmic scheme to the nature of atoms and everything in between, consider their movements, consider their processes, consider their evolutions, consider their inertias, their momentums, consider their actions and their reactions, consider the design, the scheme, the nature of all things. Consider the space, consider the time, and consider that it's all an illusion of mind. A mind that is full of all things, all potentials, all truths, all realms, all gods, all devils, all angels, and all demons. Consider a mind that has fully encapsulated and is through and through all that we know as reality. That mind, that glorious mind, that all things, that all imaginable, that all possible, potential, and kinetic of all things imaginable, that mind has to be and is the source of all things, and it is and it has to be a perfection that we have no way of knowing from this reality, from this placement, from this perception, from this acknowledgement of being, from this beingness. All we can see are glimpses. All we can express are emotions or mathematics or something in between. We laugh through it. We cry through it. We raise in it. There are those that die from it. All that there is, all that we know, all that we perceive, all that we evolve, all that we are, all that we can be, everything that happens, everything that can happen is all a construct of perfection. You are perfect. They are perfect. He, she, them, it, they are all perfect. Perfect in the scheme. Perfect in their being and within the scheme. They must be. They are here. I must be. I am here. In this perfection, we learn the levels of love and the levels of truth. This is, for lack of better terms, what we know and should know as God. God is love. Christ is love. God is nothing besides the truth. Christ was and will forever be nothing more or less than the truth. What is the truth? What is love? Those are the things of God, and only the best of us have been able to explain even the most shallow of levels of what these words really mean, what these natures really can encompass and truly do encompass. The nature of love, the nature of truth. So again, we exist in a realm of perfection, from the atom to a Eve, from the bumble to the bee. All exist in and through a realm of complete perfection. My life, as well as all men and women's lives, are to come to perfection, to understand perfection, to understand the mystery of God, to work within the nature of nature, the realm of reality, to exist in this reality, and to cease to entertain oneself with images and sounds and perceptions of self-grandization, self-glorification, to exist in the real world where all things are God and all things are perfect. I've tried to explain this in many ways to many different people, as my existence has brought me to this level of attainment, of attunement, of an understanding, of a gnosis that has allowed me to teach this, but very few understand perfection. Perfection is the Christ. Perfection is the crown. Perfection is the gem. Perfection is the key, the philosopher's stone, Jacob's ladder. Perfection is the bellman for the elevator to take you to all levels. Perfection is the warp zone through the phases of evolution along the hero's journey. Perfection is the key to the hero's journey and the culmination of the hero's journey. These alignments, these synchronicities, this way of the universe, this force, this Christ, this Holy Spirit, these ethers, these spirits that represent the way of the universe, the physics of reality. They denote certain characteristics of the physics of reality and the reality and the physics of consciousness. Most of the relatively few people that I've tried to explain this to will agree that there is some level of perfection that exists, and this may be obvious at some level, that there is maybe some nature of God that exists, maybe obviously at some level, but they will say something like, yes, it's perfect in its imperfections. And this is a misnomer. This is a judgment. This is our judgment. This is their judgment that says that there is some imperfection that's allowed to exist, something that is obviously seen by the witness, by the perceiver, as something that is obviously imperfect, but in the grand scheme of things, in reality, in the eyes of God and the mind of God, these things have their reason, their perfect nature to do the perfect thing that they're doing perfectly. It's just an illusion and a vast illusion that people don't recognize that in all things, and most importantly in each other. The nature of nature, the nature of the universe is this perfection. You can see this from the ground up, potentially, where you can see bugs and bees and insects and animals and plants and the symbiosis and the harmonic nature of nature, the harmonic nature of the stars, the evolutionary processes of nature. One can see this nature of things, this seeming harmonic balance, this intelligence through simply observing and realizing what one is observing. And one can also look at this from and discover this from more of a grand scheme look. They look back through history, through the eons of time that scientists and archaeologists and astronomers tell us has passed, all culminating into what we know today. But we look back supposedly billions of years, and through countless evolutionary processes, countless earth changes that has brought mankind and all other species to where they are now, at a seeming level of chaos to some, and to a vast level, the grandest level of potential, of a potential energy, of a potential reality that is literally light years beyond anything that could have occurred naturally. This is all by design. This is all in perfection. This perfection has brought us to a crescendo of reality that is almost too much to bear for most. As has been said, only the truth can set them free. And that's why I'm here. And the truth is perfection.